episode 109.
Are you ready to take your eBay business to the next level? Then hold on, because Ron and Ali are going to take you into the fast lane with the latest tips and insights from some of the biggest and most successful sellers here on the So You Wanna Sell on eBay podcast.
Welcome once again to another episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey, everyone. We have with us today Kameron George. Cameron, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Awesome having you. I love your office. You got a lovely backdrop. It's lovely there, mate.
Great, Ali. You know this is an audio.
I know it is, but I like spoiling the fun. You know, now they're like, what's he got there? I wonder what he has.
That's right. Well, we'll have to send a snapshot picture.
Yeah,
I don't know, a screenshot or something. Hey, everyone. Kameron George is actually an entrepreneur that currently works behind the scenes, virtually unknown to many, and he quietly works in his inner circle, influencing positive change on his terms. His uncanny approach to marketing and leadership has dramatically altered the landscape of today's work-at-home arena. Kameron operates his business from anywhere in the world with nothing more than a laptop and a cell phone, and entrepreneurs around the world contact Kameron every month in his quest for marketing prowess and leadership. Many have found his teachings to be truly life-changing, and his tips, philosophies, and marketing strategies are proven, powerful, and highly effective.
Wow, well done, Ron. Go on, brother. That was awesome. I mean, that takes some reading sometimes, especially when you get it. So look, this is the best part I love of it. Kameron operates his business from anywhere in the world with nothing more than a laptop and a cell phone. Tell us about that.
Well, I mean, isn't that how it's supposed to be?
That is exactly how it's supposed to be. I mean, isn't that great?
It's 2017.
I'm on a beach, I'm on a beach lying there having a pina colada, and I'm just doing a little bit of work from my computer. I mean, isn't that brilliant?
Yeah, I mean, it's 2017. I think it's about time that people wake up and realize that making a full-time living online isn't just a possibility. It's becoming the norm.
No.
You know what? I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very inspirational interview here. This is going to be so amazing because I just called my boss. I just texted my boss as you were saying that, and I quit my job, Cam. What do we got to
do? So it's your fault. He's now sleeping on the street.
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. It's really cool. So tell us a little bit about you. I mean, let's go back to, high school or wherever, whatever you were doing there.
For sure. So I grew up in Canada, had your typical Canadian childhood, slumming it around hockey rinks.
I mean, you're like, what's a typical Canadian childhood?
It has ice skates and hockey sticks.
That's pretty much it. That pretty much sums it up. So typical Canadian childhood, parents in Canada, the majority of people work in the trades. It's like very, very heavily influenced inside of school and stuff. Things like RAP program to be more of a blue collar worker and working in the trades. My dad's an electrician by trade, and I kind of grew up following his path. The things that he kind of laid out for me, and the belief system that I was given from my family was grow up, go to school, get a good education, get a job, eat, sleep, pay your taxes, do your toll.
Oh my gosh, man!
Take a shower somewhere there.
You're speaking to millions of people, right? You're speaking to millions of people.
Yeah, that's exactly.
So that was kind of what I was really taught, and early on, I made the decision to kind of go in a bit of a different direction, and I was going to high school up in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada, which is like the oil sands capital of the world.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a bit of a different environment. I'll just say that. So that's where I was going to high school, and I was not really a fan. I was doing the what was called the registered apprenticeship program. So one semester I would work out on site as an electrical apprentice, and the other semester I went to high school. So I was already working literally a blue collar job while I was still in high school. And I ended up graduating with my first year's apprenticeship done. And I had job offers coming left and right from Shell Canada and stuff like that, where I could have walked into a 6-figure salary right out of high school. And I turned it down to walk away, and I pursued my passion at the time of actually playing paintball. As weird as that sounds.
Hey, nice.
That's awesome, man.
So it's super random. I still actually to this day still play here and there, but I went on and I actually pursued a career in, well, it wasn't even a career at the time. It was just a passion. I just wanted to do it. And I went down and I started playing with someone that became a really good friend and mentor of mine. His name's Darcy Schlickenmeyer. He was the top player in the world at the time, in my opinion. And he was living down in Olds, Alberta, Canada. And I traveled down. I ended up trying out for a team that he was having tryouts for. And one thing led to the next, and ended up making that team, ended up playing for eventually the farm team of the pro team that he played on in Chicago Aftershock. And eventually I was playing for a professional paintball team out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And it was while I was playing for that team in 2008, 2009, when the whole Dodge Chrysler fiasco was happening and the downturn of the economy, when all of a sudden I was living like my perfect ideal lifestyle that I turned down all these six-figure income for to go pursue this other lifestyle sort of career where I was getting paid to 2 weeks out of every month travel the world, flying around on a private jet with our team owner.
Nice.
The majority of his business, though, was actually dealerships. His name is Bart Yakimic, and he owns the Yakimic Group out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. And it's a range of everything from Dodge, Chrysler, BMW, I mean, you name it. And when that whole downturn happened, all of a sudden, nobody was going to be getting paid anymore. It was just it was basically just going to be, hey, you can still come around and travel and play paintball and be able to compete at this level, and we'll take care of you, but there's not going to be salaries anymore. Nobody's going to be getting taken care of in that capacity. And I bought my first home when I was 19 years old out of Edmonton. So I'd kind of already achieved this pinnacle of like what I had deemed to be success. And out of nowhere, it was kind of taken away from me, and I didn't really know what to do. However, that same gentleman, Bart, I can remember one evening after we flew in on the private jet into Edmonton. It was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and he was going to drive me home. There wasn't such thing as Uber at the time. And, he was going to drive me home. And as I was driving me home, it was just kind of, it was in this moment, and it had a really big impact on me. Just watching how he was interacting with his two sons who were also in the car, Zach and Zane. And as we're driving home, you could see all the different construction that happens in Edmonton in the summer. And most people, the people that I usually surrounded myself with at the time, they would take one look at that construction work and they would be like, complaining about it. They'd have something to say like, oh, great, here we go again. More time. This is going to take forever to get across town. Look what they're doing to the road. Like just the negative shit.
Right.
If I'm allowed to say that on here.
It's a family show. Well,
and, one time.
We'll beat that thing out.
I would listen to him talking to his sons, and he would talk about how this was stimulating the economy and how this was going to be creating jobs for families. And it was an entirely different perspective, and it just really stuck out to me. And as we pulled up to my home, and this was the home that I had locked myself in on a mortgage. I'd be paying it off for the rest of my life. It's furnished, beautiful place. And it's in a neighborhood on the west end of Edmonton where it was all a lot of very young families. So people that were in their late 30s, early 40s who had just kind of got in there. I was even like the fact that I at 19 had purchased a home in this place I thought was something to be proud of. As we pulled up, he makes kind of a sly comment, not to be rude or anything, but he's like, oh, that's a cute home. And that's like what really kind of stuck with me. And I couldn't stop after that moment, stop thinking about what was it that he did? How are we flying around on his private jet? How does he own car dealerships? Like, what's happening? Is he just lucky? Did he win the lottery? Like, what's going on here? It was the first time that I really started analyzing and looking at entrepreneurship as an option. And from that point forward, pretty much every time I was around him, I started inquiring. I started asking detailed questions. I started getting into the nitty gritty of it. If someone were to start a business, how would they do it? How would somebody get into entrepreneurship? Would you recommend? Is that something I could go to school for? And I really just started asking questions. And for the first time ever, I started exploring entrepreneurship, personal responsibility, taking responsibility of my life, of my finances. I started looking at it in an entirely different lens.
Wow. That's amazing. You know what? In our audience, they are eBay entrepreneurs. I mean, most of them are, they're doing their own business with eBay. So I think they can relate to that on some point where, up to this point, they've always had a job. And like you said, we were taught to go to school, get a good education, get a good job, and have a good life. That's kind of how it works. But then something clicks in somebody's head, like yours did with that moment in the car with your friend, where you're like, you know what? There's got to be something better out there, and there's got to be other options. And that's how many of our entrepreneur listeners selling on eBay currently currently have started their business, right? So it's kind of the same. I mean, entrepreneur is a wide spectrum, right? And there's a lot of things you can do. The thing I love about what you do is that you can do it from anywhere. eBay you can do from anywhere. It's just kind of a nice flexibility to be able to say, I don't have to ask anybody permission to do anything. I can do what I want, when I want, where I want, and with who I want, right? It's just kind of nice freedom. So you had this moment where you kind of, everything was fine working for somebody else until this point, and all of a sudden something clicked with you and it said it's got to get better. So let's talk a little bit about that and find out a little bit about what clicked from that point forward that you changed and kind of swayed your whole thinking about how you're going to make money.
Well, for sure. So that was really where the seed was planted that had me wanting to start to look for something else. And the original seed that was planted for me and I was actually going to start a cleaning company. That's what I thought of.
Were you going to do the cleaning? Were you going to wear a little apron and stuff?
I had some friends that were girls actually that were looking for work, and I was still constantly thinking about trading time for money because that's all I knew, that's all I understood, that's all I had ever done at this point, and so that was the only thing I had experience with. And as I was setting up my cleaning company, because I mean, again, that first kind of original mentor, I guess you could say, he kind of planted in me. He's like, even if you made less money than what you're making in your job as an entrepreneur, the tax benefits alone will put you leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else. Of the financial agility that you can have when you take over full control of your finances and you kind of step into this realm of entrepreneurship. So I started looking at setting up this company. I was literally setting up a company. It was called Made to Clean, and I operated under that name.
I love the name.
I'm checking the domain name now to see if I can get it. No, I'm just kidding.
And as I was setting it up, I ended up coming across a sales letter online. And I started reading about the sales letter, and they were talking about online marketing. And I started to realize, putting things together, like, oh, this is perfect. I'm going to have to learn how else am I going to learn how to market my cleaning company? And as I started thinking about this, I was like, well, what else would I do? I'd like put flyers around. I was like, I don't know. It was like I was inventing ways of marketing from the ground up. I didn't have any experience at all. I was like, I'll walk around my neighborhood. I'll put flyers. I'll put door knockers on. Like that's where my head was at initially on how I was going to market that business. And as I seen this, I started reading through the sales letter, and this gentleman started talking about the type of exposure and the type of audiences and the type of reach that he was able to have online. And with the advent of the internet and all these new forms of media and what you could do, it just really piqued my interest. So as I was setting up my cleaning company, I had this big shiny object drop right in my lap. And I ended up filling out and like purchasing some sort of application type kit to see what he was doing, what he was promoting. And that was like my first ever glimpse into anything online. I came from the opinion and perspective of the same way that I thought that you had to go get a good education, get a good job, and go to school. I thought that everything online was like weird and a scam and people trying to take advantage of it. It's like that little voice in the back of your head, like, don't talk to strangers. For whatever reason, it's in there, like any sort of advertisement or anything online is somebody trying to take from me or something. I don't know. I thought it was a scam. I thought it would be weird. Like that's just where my mind was at the time. And that was in 2000. It was around 2008, 2009. And I ended up purchasing this particular package, and it comes there and it starts talking about this. He was talking about a health supplement that this gentleman was promoting. And he started talking about all these things. And eventually it ended up actually being a package for a network marketing company. But just the fact and the thought of this particular network marketing company, of me realizing that a product could be purchased by somebody and that the fulfillment could be taken care of, was a groundbreaking just epiphany to me. I was like, oh my God, you're telling me that business models out there exist, that I wouldn't have to orchestrate the fulfillment, that I wouldn't have to have my friends go do the work, that I wouldn't, and I'm like, that's even possible? So it was like this concept. Being able to be an affiliate was like this huge groundbreaking epiphany to me. And it was like I felt like I was going a little crazy. Like, how does nobody know this? How does nobody know that there are new business models emerging? That the same way that there's advancements in technology, that there's advancements in business models, that there's advancements in forms of media and marketing, that there's advancements in the different things that we can do. I'm like, why is nobody talking about this stuff? And at least in my world, in my reality, like perception's reality, right? So the people that I was surrounded by, that was friggin' news.
Right. That's pretty incredible. I mean, and seriously, like you said, perception is reality, right? And if we don't know anything about it, it's like, homeschooling 30 years ago was that green monster that you were talking about. Kids that were homeschooled 30 years ago, they were in their little, they were envisioned to be in their little closet, and that's where they homeschooled. They had no social skills and all that. It's changed, right? So with everything, it changes, right? Everything changes, and it's for the better, right? I mean, so scams are out there. There are out there for sure, but there's great ways to make money online without having to work for somebody else and let them dictate, what you're going to do, when you're going to wear, what you're going to wear, and how much you're going to make.
Exactly. I mean, how do you get past it? Because this is a common thing on eBay and any other business. How do you get past the too much information stuff? So like you go here and it says, this is how you sell that product. And then you go here and it says, no, don't sell it that way, sell it this way. How did you navigate to sort of work out? I mean, is it trial and error? I mean, what was your sort of technique with that?
Mine was trial and error. So I ended up putting myself about $40,000 in debt running around because I had the same problem. You don't know what to look for. You don't know who to trust. You don't know what's real. You don't know what isn't. So it's literally you're walking around touching all the stoves and seeing what's hot and seeing what isn't. Only to realize that there's a lot of misinformation and that at the time in 2008, especially, it was still the Wild West. It was the Wild West. You know what I mean? Like there was no structure, there was no organization, there was information here, there's information over there. Everybody had a different opinion, everybody had a different perspective. It wasn't called social media yet, it was Web 2.0.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
It was like the MySpace days. Yeah. And the different types of strategies and techniques and what everybody was teaching, you start realizing that it was everywhere. And I literally put myself about $40,000 in debt before I ended up finding a mentor that someone that I found that I thought was genuine, who I could trust, that I did my research on, had the background of, that I really wanted to be able to work with. And I had to come up with $20,000 that, I never even seen $20,000 before in my life. That was a lot of money. That was like game show money to me.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I had to come up with $20,000 to work with this particular mentor so he'd show me the offers that he was promoting, really the ins and outs of his business model, the marketing strategies that he was leveraging, just kind of everything. Just opened up the whole world to me, opened up his book and showed me everything that he was doing. And it was in that I really started realizing that there was a lot of principles. And that how you get around all of the nonsense out there is finding people with the skill set, finding people with the results that you're looking for, understanding modeling, understanding that, success is a science. Just as 1 + 1 = 2, if you can cultivate the same beliefs, you can take the same actions, you can absolutely produce the same results when you're committed and you consistently show up. So I really understood that, and just some other areas in my life that I'd applied it, like how I went and became who becomes a professional paintball player?
And that's awesome, though. I didn't either. But wouldn't that be like a dream job, just going around shooting people with paint? Wow, that's awesome. On private jets. You must have seriously had determination to change, because you pretty much have the dream that a lot of people would want, flying around the world on private planes, shooting people with paint. I think I listened to another audio of you before. You said before that was your dream job. That was your dream.
It was. From my 10-year-old self, that was really at one point it was to be a professional hockey player. And I slowly kind of adjusted what it was that I really wanted. But it was the equivalent. It was like getting paid to play a video game, but in real life.
Mine was to be a professional pizza seller, but that went out of business.
No, so let me ask you this, okay? So when you were doing the paintballing, the professional paintballing, did it ever get, because when I take a hobby and I get paid for it, all of a sudden it's just not as fun anymore. Did you ever lose that, or was it always still pretty cool?
No, that's exactly what happened, actually. It kind of took a little bit of the fun out of it. It really did. And now that I'm doing what I'm doing here now, which is what we're kind of getting to, I play again now when I'm out here in Las Vegas anyway, or even over the last few years. Like when I was out in Thailand, actually, like you, Ollie, nice. I actually got flown to Bangkok to guest for a team from Malaysia, and we were winning tournaments out in Bangkok, in Pattaya.
Were you doing it in the streets? In Pattaya? Oh, geez, that would have got messy.
It's what we play isn't like all over the place. It's like the turf, the blow up bunkers, and it's kind of like a hockey game. It's called X-ball. Nice. So it's a format of it.
Jeez. So let's head towards. So, okay, so we got the part where you got all this information. You're moving forward. A thing I really liked where you got started to go was with mentorship. Like, it doesn't matter what business, like even eBay sort of business or any other sort of business, there's a lot of groups, there's a lot of Facebook groups, there's a lot of places you can go and say, how come my product's not selling? What could I do better? Is that what a mentor is, or is it more like a one-on-one sort of thing?
Honestly, mentorship comes in a lot of different forms. For instance, I mean, I've only met Tony Robbins' son in person and spent some time with him, but I've never met him in person. But he was a mentor of mine, for instance, listening to some of his audios. Like, I believe that mentorship comes in a lot of different forms. But it really comes down, the point that I was getting there was modeling. So what I really did is I started modeling my very first mentor's business and everything that he was doing. But here's what happened. So back in 2008, 2009 was the friggin' dreaded, it was the Wild West before that. Money was being made hand over fist on Google.
Right.
Google slap happens. And it just so happens that my mentor, who's doing hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in profit, his entire business is based on traffic from Google. And the Google slap happens and he has his business ripped out from under him overnight. So here I am. I look crazy to everybody around me in my life. I just sold my car, maxed out 3 credit cards, a line of credit. I'm like $60,000 in debt, 22 years old. Everybody in my life approached me. Are you rich yet? What are you doing? Like, they think that I'm nuts. My parents had an honest to God intervention with me. Like, thought that was crazy. And
were they wrong?
No, I'm not going to say they're wrong. So everybody thinks that I'm crazy at this point, and all of a sudden, one of the main pieces of the business that I'm learning is taken away from me. So now all of a sudden, I have an offer, I have sales funnels, I have an offer, and I have some marketing automation, some things in place that I know works. However, I realize that this one piece of the equation is entirely taken away. And this is when I start realizing the principles that marketing and business online was really nothing more than traffic and conversions. That the same way that businesses are operating offline is the same way that businesses are operating online. There's just different levels of leverage in the type of traffic and audiences that you can reach. And I started realizing that. And then all of a sudden, the $40,000 in debt that I put myself before, running around buying products and ebooks and courses and all of this different stuff, where it was just pieces of the puzzle. It was no one taking a holistic approach and teaching me all of it at once. All of a sudden, I had that information become useful to me. And I started taking some of the things that I learned about media buying or solo ads and buying banner ads and how to like target certain traffic sources. All of a sudden that stuff became relevant to me. And I went on and I did my very first $5,000 day online in January 2010. Wow, nice. And I went and I quit my job like the next day.
Yeah.
I'm out of here. Wow. Laters.
That's pretty much what happened. I mean, I don't tell everybody that because I don't want to
well, you do realize you're on a podcast show. I got to knock that part in there.
I kind of told everybody at this moment, but you know what I mean? When I quit my job the next day. Right, the job
they already think you're crazy, don't they?
So that kind of went on to happen. But the point that I was getting at there was understanding, like, when there's all these people and there's all these different techniques and strategies and this and that, it's about finding the people who are a master at their craft, who are getting the results that you want and who are at the cutting edge of what's working right now, and to be able to sift through that to get down to the principles. Principles are things that transcend an industry, that transcend a market, that transcend a niche, and that they're timeless. Things change, like the techniques and strategies change. Like Facebook is one of the best traffic sources now for doing like digital marketing stuff, or eBay is an incredible one, and Amazon for physical products. Yep. But techniques and strategies evolve, and platforms change, and traffic sources change. But the fundamental principles of how business is being operated and how it is being done, that's timeless, and that will transcend the niche, that will transcend the industry. And so when you can surround yourself with people that understand those things, that makes all the difference. And then it really doesn't matter whether you're using the most unleveraged techniques online or the most leveraged techniques online. You have a way of being able to get results. And the cool thing is, with all the advancements in technology, like we're seeing with blockchain technology and cryptocurrencies, to disruptive technologies that like Uber's producing and providing, with all the advancements in technology and the access that we have to information right now, it's just, we're really moving towards a world in a space where everybody has the ability to learn and focus on these new skill sets. And with these new skill sets they're really blazing trail for these new marketplaces that are coming up, and freelancers to be able to come up. And everybody, I believe, has the ability to take control of their own personal financial situation because of it. Like, we live in a day and age right now where a 13-year-old kid's Instagram profile and audience can turn a 7-figure income.
Yeah.
Scary, really, isn't it?
Happy parents. Happy parents. So let's talk about where you're at now. I mean, obviously, this is a really incredible story, Cam. Thank you for sharing it with us. Where are you at now? What do you guys got going on right now?
So right now, I don't know, do you want me to get into numbers? Do you want me to get into...
Yeah, just talk a little bit about AWOL and you know, where you've come and, you know, I mean, where you're at with that.
So I went on to go do my very first $1 million year online when I was 24 years old. And I found myself at this point where I'm sitting all alone in a hotel room in Thailand.
Yeah. Why were you alone with $1 million alone? What's wrong with you?
That's what I'm saying. So I was alone in Thailand at this point. I did my very first 6-figure month, and that was that ended up being a part of that year, my very first 7-figure year. And I kind of realized that, like, it doesn't matter what it is you want to do or accomplish. That if there's more than one way to skin a cat, think about how many ways there really are to do and run your business. And that I believe that being aligned with something that is also fulfilling is really important. And I ended up walking away from everything that I was doing after my first 7-figure year, and I came back to work with some of my original friends that were there that thought I was crazy.
Yeah.
I ended up teaching one of them what I was doing, and he was just 19 years old, and I showed him kind of everything I was doing. He was like my first student that I really worked with. And at 19 years old, he went on to go create over a 6-figure income online. Wow. And later that year, a Hollywood camera, we actually ended up going back out to Thailand, and a Hollywood camera crew came out and they wanted to film a reality show around it. And the whole premise was, if a 19-year-old kid can do this with this information, what could you do with it? And
wow.
I ended up creating a company called AWOL, that stands for Another Way of Life. And today we have students all over the world promoting all sorts of different products and services, from people that are using a lot of our education and training to be able to promote everything from physical product, their Amazon stores, to their, we have guys that are just using our training to help promote their offline yoga studio and business, to other individuals who are using it to promote their network marketing businesses. We have one student and client just last year who, because of our training and the platform we put together, were responsible for over $20 million in sales inside of the organization that they were promoting. Right now, we're doing, my personal company is doing just over a few $1 million a month right now in revenue.
Wow.
And things are going great.
We're talking dollars, not rupee, yeah? We're actually talking dollars.
We're talking US dollars.
No, that's amazing. I mean, isn't it? It's just proof that absolutely anything is possible if you have the right mindset to it.
Ron and Ali will be right back after this short break.
Life is full of numbers. Our brains process literally hundreds of numbers and equations every hour of every day. When it comes to your business, give your brain a break as well as peace of mind that the numbers are figuring up as they should with MyCost Pro. MyCost Pro is an easy-to-use automated eBay bookkeeping program for Excel that imports sales data directly from your seller account. MyCost Pro automatically generates accounting and performance reports to show you your true bottom-line profit. You can even view and edit active listing details such as price and quantity, and relist unsold items directly from MyCost Pro. All you need is Excel on your Windows PC. Take control of your business and free up those long nights of crunching the numbers. Visit mycostpro.com for a 21-day no-obligation free trial using coupon code PODCAST, exclusively for So You Want to Sell on eBay podcast listeners.
Be sure to check out So You Want to Sell on eBay.com for the latest podcasts and all the information you need to get selling fast.
One thing that I'm always intrigued with people like you is how do you manage those hours? So the thing that, for example, me and Ron, so we like to have this podcast show, we like to do different other things, but sometimes can get lost, how much time to spend here, it's like we have too much stuff. Did you just dedicate yourself to one thing just learning this internet niche and then sort of expanding?
Yeah, it's kind of like a multi-dimensional question with multi-dimensional answers.
Thank you. Wow, I've never had a question like that before. That's awesome.
Other than his personalities, he's never been told he's multidimensional.
Yeah, except for multi-personalities. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we might. So I really was focused. The first thing that I focused on, and what I was fortunate enough to see the emerging trend in, and what I really focused on, was marketing as a skill set. And understanding that marketing as a skill set was something that no business could survive without. And that it didn't matter how good of a product that you had, how incredible and life-changing your technology. You could have, it doesn't matter what it is. If you just go set it out on the curb, it's not going to sell itself. It's not going to take care of itself. So it was understanding sales and marketing and the real value that skill set, that learning that skill set could provide for me, and regardless of how I wanted to apply it. So at first, it was really about mastering that skill set inside of leveraging some business models and using being an affiliate for certain companies, where I would go like license their products, and I would be an affiliate for certain companies, so I didn't have to deal with any of the fulfillment, and I could focus all my attention on learning marketing and sales. And from there, that was really what I kind of started teaching, obviously, my friend. But that was originally what I'd focused 100% of my attention on. And doing that, I eventually got to a point where you get to this point where you realize that you have the ability. Like, for instance, if you understand how to drive traffic, like I could drive millions of clicks at any website at will. Technically, anybody can. If you understand how to leverage technology, you understand that traffic and attention, it's a commodity. It's like rice. You can go buy it. It's just understanding that if you can have a business, a sales funnel, a conversion environment, a sequence of websites, a store that is ultimately going to turn that traffic into a profit, that's kind of the key, the name of the game, traffic and conversions. And when you start to realize you have the skill set, you realize that you actually have the ability to create money on demand. And that at that point, it literally became, I found myself at this point in life where I had this sense of security that I never thought was going to be possible before, because I knew at any moment I could either go to one of my email lists and send out an email and run a promotion, or to go license a product and set up a campaign from scratch, and within a week to a few months have it into profit and generating revenue. And that to think about money anymore as a problem would be like listening to somebody come to me and complain that they have to go fill their car up for gas. It's like, well, just go to the gas station and do it. What's wrong with you? Like, just go do it. So
if you need more, just go get it.
Yeah, if you need more, you just get it. And when you start to have a skill set like that, that really is what's actually possible in this day and age, with some of these advertising platforms and the technology that we have right now, and how easy and affordable and easier and simpler that it's getting, because things are evolving. Like when I first came online, I literally had to learn how to write code on how to build and set up a website. Now, setting up a website is as simple as setting up a Facebook account. It's like drag, drop, everything looks the way that it's going to look when it's done. You don't have to like learn HTML code or anything. Like, it's getting easier by the day. The point being, though, that once I found myself in that place, for instance, when I was living out in Thailand, I was working like 2 hours a week, if that. And I would sustain multiple six-figure income just working a couple hours a week. And that's what I was happy and I was fulfilled with. And I just genuinely believe that anybody, especially in this day and age, has the ability to design their life, to design their lifestyle. That opportunity, to me, is like the greatest problem, because it's so abundant and it's everywhere. Like it's kind of even what you're saying, like, what do you do? There's so many things that you could be doing with your time. There's so many places you could be putting your energy. There's so many things that you could be doing. For a long time, I just honestly had a lot of fun.
That's what it's about.
Yeah. And now I've kind of shifted into focusing my energy and attention to kind of take things to another level, so that I could have a greater impact. But it really did come down to learning productivity, how I was managing my time, how I was managing my energy. Because how is it that, I mean, people say that they want more time. You're never going to get more time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. It's how we are spending and investing it.
Yeah.
So I invested all of my time initially learning a skill set of marketing, learning a skill set of how could I go out there and get the attention of millions of people? And how could I connect them with products and services that they were already interested in? How could I leverage these emerging tools and technologies in order to do that in a very efficient manner? And then it became to, okay, now how can I learn and get better at sales? And now that I'm better at sales, it's really turned me into taking a more holistic approach to business. Now I'm learning things like operations.
Is there anything that you're not learning? I mean, it's amazing. Well, what about, this is what AWOL is then. So this is what AWOL's all about. Is it people come in there and they basically get to learn the information that you have, yeah?
Yeah, so my company is called AWOL Academy. I co-founded it with a good friend of mine who was also another affiliate marketer, online entrepreneur. And it all kind of spawned because we were rolling out a campaign. He was up visiting me at my winter home in Canada. I have a place up on Big White Ski Resort just outside of Kelowna, BC. And he was up there visiting me. And we were sitting there, we were rolling out this campaign. We'd already rolled it out. We put it together. We'd already each made a few $100,000 on this thing. And we're sitting there, and he's in my office, and we're putting together some new content for it, some new marketing materials for the promotion that we were getting ready to run. And he looks over at me. He's like, what would you tell your mom if she wanted to get into this space? And it was kind of a very grounding question. And I looked at it, and I'm like, honestly, I'd tell her to keep her job.
Oh.
And the reason for that was because I wouldn't wish the struggle, the hurdles, the path that I had gone on. I wouldn't have wished that on my worst enemy. Like, it was it's easy to say, like, I went from being a construction worker to doing millions of dollars a month. What happened in between wasn't easy. I'm never going to tell anyone that it was easy. I will tell them it was worth it. Absolutely. But not that it was easy, and I wouldn't have wished that on anybody. So we were sitting there, we're like, well, why is that? And we kind of we literally put down what we were doing. We were in the middle of writing out an email promotion. And next thing you know, hours later, we have this entire thing drawn out on a whiteboard on exactly what we would do, what we would create, what we would put together if we were to put together a marketing training, if we were to take a holistic approach, instead of having to go over here to get this traffic training on this and to go over there to get the sales training on that, where you have 1,000 people telling you 1,000 different things and you never know which one's right, and you never know if it's right enough to even give it the time and attention to follow through with it, right?
Yep. Sure.
And we really took this approach to put together this curriculum. And we started rolling it out in beta form to some of our students, and some of our original students with that curriculum are a couple of the gentlemen, like I just mentioned, who just last year did over $20 million in sales for a network marketing company that they're a part of.
Insane.
And we just put together, and this is the same training that my beautiful girlfriend now uses. She makes money whenever she feels like it, really. I can't say it all.
Is she in the room? Is she? You're being nice, yeah?
Yeah, whenever she feels like it. We put together something that we just really believed didn't exist out there. We went and we set out to create a type of training that we wished that we had, that I wish that I had, the type of mentorship, the type of support, the type of training, the type of tutorials, the type of guidance, where we were really able to share the details, the major distinctions that we had made over the years that had cost us hundreds of thousands of dollars in flying around to different masterminds, hiring different mentors, attending different courses and seminars. And we were just really able to distill it down into the things that you really needed to know in order to get results. And that ultimately is what became AWOL Academy. And right now, we're just in the middle of actually developing out our own custom learning management system and our own custom platform, where we're continuing to bring on trainers and continuing to hone our curriculum so that we can really just bring this type of information in a trusted, matter-of-fact way to the mainstream, to start to wake people up to the type of opportunities that exist online, the type of opportunities like eBay, like being a freelance digital marketer, being an affiliate for certain particular companies, developing your own information products, and really starting to empower them with the type of education, tools, resources, and support that they need to be able to capitalize on this new economy, right, for the 21st century entrepreneur. Because it just exists. It's everywhere, but it's also just so often overlooked because there is so much, bullshit out there. Yeah. There really is.
That's twice now, but yeah. Do you know what? We've run out of time ages ago, but I don't want to stop. I don't want this to end because you're insane, man. You're just so brilliant at what you're talking about. I mean, obviously we can tell from what you're talking, years of experience, years of hard work, I'm assuming as well. And any person, doesn't matter what business you're in, eBay, Amazon, can take this vital information that you're giving here and put it into their business. So we actually here at So You Want to Sell on eBay seriously promote AWOL. I mean, we're massive fans of it ourselves. You can go to soyouwanttosellonebay.com/AWOL, AWOL, and you can come along and join people like Cameron here who, I don't know, it's changed everything for me and Ron, because before we were floaters, we were like, yeah, let's go here, and yeah, let's do 7 better fish, and yeah, 11 forgotten laws, and yeah, let's go and walk the dog. And I'll tell you what, we became nuts. But it wasn't until we found someone like yourself, Cameron, who just has it, this is the way, follow this path and succeed. That things have changed, isn't it, Ron?
Most definitely. And I'll tell you this, thank you for all the hard work and effort and timeless and sleepless nights that you put together for this, because I tell you what, when we got in and we started looking at this, it's like, wow, man, lights just come on, and they come on all the time. New lights all the time. And you guys have figured this thing out. You really have figured it out. And it is hard work. There's no question about it, but it's very, very rewarding. And thank you and Kiala for all the efforts you put into all this.
It's my pleasure. I mean, I genuinely believe that the most powerful thing that you can do is be an example of what's possible. And that your perspective is really your gift that you can share with the world. And that with the advancements in technology and what we have with social media and the type of reach that exists right now, that it's possible for everybody to be able to do what they love and to find something that they enjoy. And
have the life that they want, And, it doesn't have to be that, 9 to 5 no more. So, and it can be if you want it to be. I mean, I suppose if you really wanted to do that. Thanks for joining us here today, Cam. We thoroughly enjoyed it. We'll post all the notes on today's interview on our show notes page, which can be found at www.soyouwanttosellonebay.com/show notes. Cameron, before you leave us, and I don't want to stop recording, how can people get in touch with you? How can people, get in communication with you and stuff like that?
Best thing for me right now is just on Facebook, facebook.com/Kameron George. That's Cameron with a K, KameronGeorge.
Brilliant. Okay. And once again, you can go to soyouwanttosellonebay.com/AWOL. That will also take you to some great information. You'll be able to download a freelance marketing book from there. Thanks again for joining us. We've had great fun here. We're going to have to get you back. We're going to have to get Kiela back. We're going to have to get everyone back. I tell you what, this is why me and Ron love doing this show, because we get to meet people like yourselves, and it's just, I don't know, it sort of builds up your day. It's like it's a boost for your day. So thanks for joining us. From everyone here at So You Want to Sell on eBay, I'm Ali Young.
And I'm Ron LeBeau.
That's all for this episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. Be sure to check out our next episode or any past episodes by going online to soyouwanttosellonebay.com. Also, be sure to follow us on your favorite social media sites, facebook.com/So You Want to Sell on eBay, and Twitter @Your eBay Podcast. Thanks for listening. And until next time, happy selling.
Have an idea for a topic or know someone who would like to be on the show? Let us know. Just go to www.soyouwanttosellonebay.com/interview. We look forward to hearing from you. This podcast was produced in part by Pro Voice Works.